Hi, and welcome to the Lone Star Play podcast, where we sit, eat, chat, and repeat. I'm your host, Patrick Scott Armstrong, and we are coming to you from Austin, Texas. The Lone Star Play podcast is produced by Texas Real Food. Go to texasrealfood.com, and you can search your city for local restaurants, stores, butchers, farmers markets, and more who are using organic, fresh, artisanal, and local sources. It's a fun site that brings all natural options all together. All right, we have a great episode today. We are going to be discussing delivery services. That's right. I'm just cutting straight to the point here. No BS. Okay, we're going to be discussing delivery services and what they mean to restaurants and food businesses. You know, when I say delivery services, I mean like Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, you know, whatever else is around that people are using. Or using the delivery services of the actual restaurant. So what do these companies mean? What sort of percentages do they take? Is it a good idea for them? You know, should we be using them? Does this model work for restaurants, right? So we're going to dive deep into that with a very special guest. Her name is Joleen Jernigan, and she's an author and a writer and a columnist and all kinds of blogger and all kinds of things. And, her specialty is words. And she wrote this beautiful article for theamericangenius.com. And it's basically about the delivery companies and some of the shady practices they go into. So we're going to dive deep into that and just talk with Joleen and go over some of those things and, maybe lay out some options for you guys to use other than them, or give us your feedback. Tell us what you think. Do you like these delivery companies? Do you want to keep using them? Or what ways do you think they can improve or do better, or vice versa? So email me, Patrick at Texas Real Food. Let me know. All right, let's get started with the podcast. Enjoy the episode. Hi, Joleen. Thank you for joining me today. I appreciate it. I know you got a gazillion things to do, so I appreciate you taking the time.
I'm happy to. Yeah. So I know it's crazy, right? This whole food delivery, third service stuff.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's probably something people don't even know to think about. To be frank with you, I think it's just, this is service.
Yeah.
I use it. Why would there be anything wrong with it, right? Like, why would I even question it? The restaurant's using it. They must like it, right? Like,
right.
So there's this whole behind, the scenes, which you brilliantly, laid out in your article. And,
Thank you.
and if you're in the industry, it's something you've thought about, right? For the longest time since they joined the scene. And they came in and you just had no choice. It was, well, you don't have to use us, but who else are you going to use? It was like,
right.
You're sort of stuck with it. So I'll tell you what, Joleen, what I'd like you to do is just sort of give us your take on it. And, you start us off here.
Okay, sure. So this is all kind of related to this article I wrote for the American Genius. And it was that one of these Chicago pizza guys had this receipt. Did you explain all that, Rhea?
Oh, no, not at all.
Yeah. So the Chicago pizza guy, a small pizza business owner, restaurant owner, shared his summary from Grubhub for a month, and they'd had over $1,000 in sale. And at the end of the day, his take after all of the commissions and fees and promotional charges, it was like $347 or something very similar, very low. So you can imagine that's really, really painful for a restaurant to lose that kind of money for something that's supposed to be serving them. So I'll just start out saying, I think there is a place for these types of services. The concept is good. People do want their food delivered. People sometimes need their food delivered. If maybe they're sick, maybe, maybe they're immunocompromised. And especially right now, you don't want to get out there. So, you'd rather have trust one person, to kind of touch your food in transit or, the packaging than exposing yourself by going into a restaurant and things like that. And, there is always a reason that why you might want that service. But what's happened is that they kind of realized that, and it's very opportunistic in a lot of businesses. And I know they're in it to make money, but it just seems that for it's very tricky. I feel like it feels like deceptive business practices. Now that's feelings. Don't come at me, bro. Please don't come at me, bro. But you know what I mean? Like, yeah, so I just feel like as a consumer, when we've ordered from DoorDash or Grubhub, and we have, we don't realize that it's kind of like gouging the businesses. We think, oh, well, we're paying this fee for delivery and for, a tip to the driver. And, so we're paying all this extra money. So we kind of assume that's how those third-party delivery apps, Postmates, DoorDash, Grubhub, Uber Eats, those are kind of the big ones, how they function, and that's how they make their money. And that's kind of what we think. We're paying for the service, so we think that's how they're making their money. But they're also charging a commission to the restaurant, and it's not a small one. A lot of them start out at like 15 to 30%. Now, to a 10% charge, I can understand that. I think that's fair.
Yeah.
It is a service, and they have bigger platforms because they are bigger companies making a ton of money. So they're able to, put this small restaurant or food truck that may not have anyone, that a lot of people may not know about unless they see it on, the internet or on, these kind of marketing platforms. And so, in that regard, they're doing, what feels like a service to the restaurant or food truck, the small business. But then the reality is, if you have a 30% commission, and from what my research has shown me, it does seem that, the smaller businesses tend to have the higher commissions, which seems even more unfair. But if you're a Chili's or something, just randomly out of my head, it's a big chain restaurant, you can afford to make a deal because you're kind of doing this like a bulk thing. Like we've got all these locations around the country, even internationally, right? I don't know if Grubhub's international, but so we've got like all of this business for you. And so we don't work with anyone unless they do like a cut. But, we know that consumers want their Texas Roadhouse, they want their Chili's. Like if there's, a market of people that love eating at those places that are familiar. And so Grubhub does a deal with them. And so a lot of times the big companies making most money are the ones that get the best deal. Yeah. So that just seems crazy. And then, and so this guy in Chicago did opt in for some promotions. And maybe as, one of the business owners, you can talk about that too, because I feel like it does feel like you kind of opt into the promotion that they want to run, or, people want the deal. Like, oh, Grubhub has 15% off, or Grubhub has $15 off of your first order. And you're like, that's amazing. I'm going to order from Grubhub tonight. And then, but what I found out, it does seem that, in a couple of articles I read that that the business itself pays for those promotions. Like, that comes out of the businesses, the money that the business. So even though Grubhub decided to run this promotion to stimulate sales, and it does, again, it's like it just takes more out of like the restaurant's small cut. Like it gets like smaller and smaller as you go down, because there's like a delivery commission. There's just a commission to do business, the cost of doing business with Grubhub. And then, but if you look at this thing, it's itemized, and there are like 10 lines on there for, things that Grubhub is like taking out of the sales. And so, as a consumer, it's like we want to support small businesses, and especially right now when restaurants are suffering, we know this, they have had to close, and that's unprecedented. And it's just, I've heard people say they're tired of hearing the word unprecedented, but it is unprecedented, so deal with it, But and it's just like, what are you going to do? It's you want to support local businesses, but again, maybe, I don't feel comfortable going into a restaurant and picking it up, so I'm going to have it delivered. It's big catch-22, but I think at the end of the day, it's hurting businesses. And then the Yelp thing is a whole other thing, but we can talk about that in a minute. But that's where it really gets egregious. That's where it gets really, really, it just seems very, very wrong. So wrong.
Yeah. And that's, just like review based, right? So that's like I'm with you, like with Yelp, that's like that's literally like a 6-part series of podcasts. Like, because I'm with you on the Yelp thing. It's, I've had my own personal crazy experiences with them. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, the delivery thing is you make so many great points, Jolene, and those are the real points, to be honest with you. That's it. It's, look, from the business standpoint, that briefly, this is what it is, right? This company will approach you and they'll say, look, we can offer delivery to your business, on our platform. And you just have to pay 33% of each sale. Plus,
That's so much.
Right? It's so much. Plus, we're going to give you a tablet that you've got to set on your counter. Make sure you're looking at it 24 hours a day, 7. Don't take your eyes off it because you might miss an order, right? You can't can't even blink. You got to hire an employee to stare at the damn thing.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna fold it into the 27 other tablets that the other companies gave you. So now you just got this counter of tablets. In fact, you're thinking about getting into the tablet rental business because you have so many tablets. That's another issue that's, from the consumer side, you'll never see that. And there's no really good ways to implement it into your POS meaning point of sale system. So whatever the company uses to, charge your credit card and right? Yeah. Make all those transactions. You want all that, streamlined, right? You want everything to be the tickets and everything, how it's going back to the kitchen and everything to be streamlined. So it's not really, it's really a pain in the butt just from that standpoint. But now you tack on the prices, right? So you got the 33% they're charging you and they charge the customers. So Grubhub is doing both. They're on a 2-lane highway. They're totally double dipping and they're making it seem like they're not. They're making it seem like, oh, this $6.99 or $5.99, and this is all the delivery places, mind you. Okay, so they're making it seem like the delivery charge I'm charging you is the only delivery charge, but that's not true. They're charging you the delivery and they're charging the business the delivery. And I think some people think, oh, if I pay this delivery charge, it goes to the business. Nope, not at all. Again, none of it's going to the business. In fact, the least is going to the business. The most is going to the consumer and the delivery company, the actual person or business who is actually making the food, right? The whole reason this whole transaction is even happening is literally getting the short end of the stick. And again, it's not, I don't blame the consumer. They just have no idea. This is a service that's offered. It's convenient for me. Of course, I'm going to use it. And yes, I think long term, it is something that food businesses are going to need to move forward. I mean, hands down. Right. You're going to need delivery and
that's the point. They're kind of asking themselves, is this actually a service that I need or that I can live with, or is it kind of like I said, like an old-fashioned shakedown? It just feels like it is. Because once they've gotten you, then they want you to opt into the promotions, and then they want you to opt into the discounts, and but also to absorb the cost of all of that. And it's it just adds up. And especially you have to think these are big, well-organized companies, maybe billion-dollar companies. I don't know. I know millions though, for sure. Lots and lots of millions. And so, if you have your small mom and pop food truck or something, and they're just really trying hard to make it, and they're so focused on their food, it's their passion, it's their labor of love, and, get good ingredients, do all the good things. And then, they may not be tech savvy, a lot of them aren't. And so they don't know what's going on. And so it just kind of they're a little bit blindsided, even though, and I said this in the article, I'm sure that all of this is in the fine print somewhere, they're not going to leave themselves open, but.
It is for sure.
But, I'm not sure that every food business will understand that necessarily. And it's not, again, if you're looking at a smaller business, they're just, they are running with things a lot closer to the chest. They hopefully they have a business plan and are, a lawyer or an accountant or something, but a lot of times it's just them doing everything, at least until they really, get up and running. And and it just feels like businesses feel like they have to opt in, but then it's not really beneficial for them in the long run a lot of times.
Yeah, they get, there's pressure from, look, they're smart. Okay. These companies are smart. They know what they're doing. They know that there's multiple ways they do it. One, they'll accidentally put you on their platform All right. And then people are ordering from it. And then you're like trying to, what? I'm not on that platform. And then they're ordering from you and blah, blah, blah. So now you're calling the company and they're like, well, do you want to just set up a deal? So then you're like, well, they force you into, right? It's a stupid way of doing it. Or
so like, we have all these orders from your food truck.
Exactly.
Don't you want this business? Don't you want these orders?
You're missing these orders, right? Or they say, look, all these, or you just get customers that are coming to you, go, hey, I'm trying to order from you off Uber Eats. Hey, I'm trying to order from you off Uber Eats. Yeah. Hey, how come you're not? So then you get that pressure.
They're used to doing that. Yeah.
They're used to using those platforms, right? And they know, look, the company counts on that. They count on, we're going to create, the value here on this platform. That customer is then going to beg the restaurant to get on this platform, right? So you sort of get strong-armed into it. And again, the consumer has no idea that this platform is completely destabilizing to 9 out of the 10 restaurants that use it. Again, you mentioned the big chains and how they get the big deals, and that's exactly it. They get the big deals on volume, and they do get lower percentages. Now, we'll say this. There's nobody getting lower than 25% with like Uber Eats. That I know 100%, but that's about but it is lower than the 33%, but those big chains, that's basically the deal they get, 25%. And again, the smaller businesses, these companies use the smaller businesses to literally stand on and build off of. They're literally just little bricks that they could care less about to help build their business. That's literally built around your business.
Yes.
And the key that I have with the percentage, my problem with the percentage based commission is this: they're basing what they're going to get from you off of your business plan, off of the prices you've set, right? The margins you've set. So they're sort of, what if I have a $50 steak? You're getting 33% of that? You have what's the difference between taking my $50 steak and a $4 burger? It's the same drive, it's the same walk, right? Like there's no difference. Yeah. But they want to take off of your product. They want to take money off of the dish you've designed and created and the reason it has that value, which makes no sense to me, right? So the percentage thing on top of it, I hate. It should be a set amount. You want a delivery, this is what it is. It's $2.99, it's $3.99, and that's it. So
same amount of gas, same amount of time.
Absolutely. It's completely crushing to the restaurants because the high-priced items, look, restaurants do stuff on the back end to meet them in the middle, meaning they change the portion sizes, they lower it so you don't get the same portion size, or they raise the price to make up for that 33%, or both.
Right. And then it ends up hurts
everybody. Exactly.
It hurts the consumer because they're going to be like, wait a minute, this is not,
totally.
the restaurant.
And I would be upset about that. I mean, a little confused, or if I don't know, right, I'd be like, what? Well, I don't get it.
Exactly. And then you'd also be like, well, wait, then and then it's like the customers ends up like paying more in a way because you're paying for the service. And
exactly. Right? Good point.
And then it's not good for the restaurant either. They might be saving money on that particular order or steak or whatever, but because they're giving a lower portion, but then it's going to hurt their reputation in the long run.
Exactly.
It's not what people want to see there. People want to see what they're used to seeing, what they fell in love with the restaurant or food truck for to begin with. But but the whole like putting you on their platforms when you're not on them is one of the ways that really, really not good. It's deceptive. And and then the other thing is that Grubhub and Yelp, this was in a Vice article in 2018. And a couple of other ones too, but I think the Vice was the big one. But they partnered with Yelp so when you go to your restaurant, there's one in South Austin that I like. It's a Vietnamese restaurant, and so I go, and it's when I call, it's like a Grubhub, or when I go to online order, it's a Grubhub app on the Yelp thing. So instead of going directly to the restaurant, and so it's been shown that Grubhub and Yelp, one of them owns the other, or they're partners.
Yeah, Grubhub bought Yelp, I think, or the other. Yeah, you're right. It's one of those things.
Right, and so Grubhub is like kind of quietly replacing restaurant information on the Yelp platform with Grubhub's information. So you're trying to call, like I'm trying to call my little pho restaurant in South Austin. And even if I do it for pickup, Grubhub gets, so that's what I mean. Like if you go through that platform, even if you online order, so I'm like, it's like 6 minutes away. I don't want Grubhub to deliver. I don't think that's right. You know what I mean? Like for whatever reason, I want to support the restaurant, but somehow it still goes through the Grubhub ordering app. And then Grubhub charges them, a lower price for that, but maybe say 10%, because they're like, well, you used our platform to get this order, and otherwise you wouldn't have gotten the order. It's like, but I looked up the restaurant's name. I wasn't like, hey, Yelp, who's got Vietnamese food in
Yeah, like I want to support Grubhub today. What what restaurant off of Grubhub can I buy? Grubhub. Right. Let me get my Grubhub tattoo. And I mean, absolutely. It's so. I don't like a business leeching off another business, and that's essentially what these delivery companies have done. They've wedged themselves in to a market that they just created this and just leeching off of the customer and leeching off you. It's like you haven't created anything. You didn't invent food delivery. It's been going around forever before you. You didn't even perfect it, because how many horrible stories have you heard from people from these delivery stuff, right? I mean, me personally, I remember the delivery drivers would come, and maybe one out of 10 would be a good delivery driver. The rest were always late, give you attitude, didn't understand like where to stand or what to do, or, just weird things, right? They don't check the order. I see them. I mean, I just see, the way they're working, right? So, and now they're an extension of your business.
Right.
They're representing you going to deliver the food. It's like, no. That's again, I just sent an expensive meal, right? That you're taking this huge cut out of, and this guy is representing me, picking his nose on the way to take. I mean, it's just crazy. I'm not saying, look, allegedly picking his nose. Yeah, there's some great delivery drivers. Yeah. I know there are, absolutely. But look, you're involving other people, right? Other things in there that can complicate it. And
Well, and you alluded to it with the tablet ordering too, and someone brought that up. So this has been kind of a hot button topic, like since that article went up. Like everywhere I've seen it posted, like a lot of people are, either like, oh my gosh, I'm shocked, I'm deleting all those apps, or or then I had someone that said, I actually drive for Grubhub, and and so you have to consider that in this gig economy, that is how a lot of people make their money, and I'm not trying to take their money from them either. Yeah. But if it's like, it is a bit predatory too. I mean, it takes advantage of the business.
I mean, look, I know they have a job and all, but I'll be honest with you, that job isn't more important than screwing these small businesses over. It's just not. I mean, that's not a way to think forward. What I would say is, you have a job, I will help you get another job.
Right.
You know what I mean? Let's get you off of this platform.
If you're driving for Grubhub, you're probably driving for Uber, you're probably driving for Lyft,
and they're probably not happy with the driving either, right? Probably at the end of the day.
I've heard, so it's like, it's all over the board, some people, I mean, I think that's a zone they're comfortable in, sure, and that's fine, but then some people, and maybe they drive, I don't know, but then some people are like, no, I mean, like I drove for, this one for a while and they didn't treat us very well. Yeah. I mean, you can imagine that the drivers get much money, but I mean, if it is a steady source of income and you can go make money whenever you need it, like waiting tables, you can go pick up a shift and get money that night if rent is due. And that's a good thing about that. But I mean, I think the other thing that my friend who's worked in restaurants forever, and I used to work with her at Chewy's here in Dallas, in fact, and she commented, she's like, what about, because it's like, if you're in a restaurant, say you're ordering from Chewy's and it's through Grubhub or something. Well, the Grubhub driver, they get tipped, they get paid to drive. Grubhub takes their cut. They don't tip at the restaurant. But as you know, I mean, when you work in a restaurant, if I'm ringing it up on my number, whether I'm the bartender or the server, and usually that's what happens. Like a server who's already working that night rings it up on it. So you're tipping out, you have to claim on your taxes X amount of, sales, like the percentage of your sales, it would be like an assumed percentage of tips that you got, say 15%. if you claim that's what you claim, but you're not getting that. So if you have like a giant to-go order or 10 through one of these apps, like if someone gets a to-go order, they're likely not going to tip you the 20% that they would in the restaurant.
Of course.
But they'll probably tip you a couple of bucks or $10, or not $10, 10% or a couple of bucks at least, because they're not just going to stiff you, but you get completely stiffed with these, delivery drivers. And
100%.
so that's another person. And she said, imagine like a restaurant's busiest night. And come on, I'm working at Container Bar on a Friday night, like trying to get the food out, just see the people in front of you.
Exactly.
And like you say, and these orders aren't coming in through the traditional way. Like, okay, I'm ringing up orders here, and we're cooking here, and then you've got like, here's the Grubhub order, and here's the Postmates order, and and you've got to pay attention to those too. But then it doesn't account for like when the kitchen gets backed up, and you can't give the customer an expectation of a longer wait time because you're slammed, because you're not in contact with the customer.
Exactly.
And so that looks bad on you again as a restaurant, and then and then the drivers will get like crankier and stuff because their food's not, the food they're picking up isn't ready.
Yeah.
And it just, so it just all snowballs, and it just puts way too much out of the restaurant's hand and puts way too little back into their pocket.
100%. And, the drivers will call you too in the middle of service. So the rush, I can't find your place. Is it a left or a right on Oakmont? And you're like, dude, GPS dog, what did you do before MapQuest? Like, holy cow. It's a nightmare, honestly, for everyone. Look, restaurants are all about streamlining a process, at least good ones, right? Food. It's all about, left to right ordering, right? We're going to get this food. We're going to prep it. We're going to slide it out the door to you, right? And you try to take away as many steps as you can, right? You want it to be as quick and easy as possible. And that's, the delivery services, right? They just add so many steps and so many unnecessary problems to the restaurant or the food business, right? That they just don't need. I mean, it's just unnecessary. Honestly, these are people that I think never worked in the industry coming in to try to, revolutionize it. It's like, okay, maybe getting some chefs to help with this app, like created, right? We need chef created apps and chef created delivery services, because again, you just got people that have no idea what's going on.
So
they're trying to implement into your business and they just don't even know. It's crazy. I mean, again, it's not even meant for the small person. They could care less about you. Like, it's not meant for you. It's meant for like you said, the big chain. I'm going to sign a 200 location deal with whatever, right? Like, that's what it's about. I mean, we use
and that makes sense
too.
On that volume, it makes sense, in that volume, but it's like it's the little guys. When the little guys get hurt, I'm a fierce mama bear, and I want to protect all of our little local businesses. Please don't hurt them. That's not nice.
Yeah.
And I know you are too. And we talk about this. We're such hyper local, hyper vigilant local. The Lone Star Place, Texas food, real Texas food. This is like what it's about. Like, we know them. You are them. But we work with them. We see them. Even when I worked in restaurants, like I never worked in a chain restaurant. Now Chewy's now has a chain element, but like it was still owned by the same two dudes when I worked there in the 90s.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
And and like it's like we went to Austin and hung out with them and hung out with the Hula Hut people, and it was all at one big restaurant family, and we're all still close today, but it's just I work in like the owner comes in and like tastes the gumbo in the morning and tells you to throw it all away because the oregano is not fresh. I mean, that's the kind of restaurant I'm used to working in, and that's what we love and want to support. I mean, Austin, needs that variety. Austin needs all these little places bringing in their Jamaican food and their Ethiopian food, their Spanish food, their, just their Italian food. We need it all, but we want each of them to be different and have their own space and to be able to make money without having to overcharge. I mean, so if they're raising their prices because of these third party or partially because of these third party delivery apps, well then, if I'm just going there to order there and eat there, I'm going to probably go there less because I'm like, the prices are so high. Like, why?
Absolutely, of course.
$40, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
If it's just pasta. Yeah.
It's understandable, right? Like it's totally understandable from a consumer standpoint to be turned off by that. And the business knows it. They know it. They don't want to do that, right? Like they don't want to. It's like, trust me, the business is the least one that wants to be screwing you over with the delivery stuff, right? Like they want to be getting you that food, the cheapest and the best way that they can. Let me ask you this, Joleen. What do you actually? We're going to do two things. One, before I forget, because there's a quick story. You mentioned the one about the guy who put up that receipt, right, with Grubhub, and it had the breakdown of all the charges and stuff.
I lost you. You froze up.
Oh, what about now?
I gotcha.
Okay. There's that. Remember that you told the story about Grubhub, right? The guy with the receipt and it had all the charges. Yeah. Well, there's another one that I saw, another article about DoorDash, where this, I think it was a pizza guy too.
Okay.
He wasn't on the delivery, right? He wasn't on the platform.
Right.
But one of his customers all of a sudden sent him a message like, "Hey, I can order your pizza from DoorDash for $16, blah, blah, blah." And the guy's like, "Wait, I charged $24 for that pizza, not 16, or something like that." It was one of the, something like that. Right. So the guy's like, "What the hell?" So the owner of the place, get this is what he does. He decides to order his own pizzas at $16, right, from DoorDash, from himself. And then DoorDash pays him $24 a pizza.
Oh my God.
Because he's not on the platform yet, so they can't take a cut yet because has no deal set up. So that's another way they get you. They'll do a few transactions for you, no cost, right? Like and then you're like, "Oh, I love the service. Let's do it." So the guy did it a bunch and just took advantage of DoorDash and made $6 profit, right, on every pizza, or $8 profit on every pizza. And he never made the pizzas, right? He just
so he made $24 profit on it.
I mean, 100%, exactly. He just, getting. I thought that was just so funny,
one pizza that he kept giving the DoorDash people over and over. Yeah. Give him the DoorDash pizza. Oh my God, it's
so funny. Yeah, I mean,
you shouldn't have to resort to
100%, right? Like
shady tactics, to deal with shady tactics, and just shouldn't be shady.
It's just sort of a way to put a mirror up to them, I think, and what they're doing.
But we have to give some credit where credit is due. During this pandemic, I think maybe it started in April, but through the end of May, DoorDash has reduced their commission for restaurants to 10%, which is
nice. That's honestly beautiful.
And Favor, which is our Austin local.
Favor has done amazing. I don't even include Favor in these. I think Favor is amazing. That's why I haven't
really brought them up. But
I love Favor. I honestly love Favor.
For most local restaurants, and they say it's on their website. So, because I was trying to ask exactly, but but Favor's now, right, like partner with H-E-B, and they're doing like delivering food for seniors for free or delivering groceries
for free. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So H-E-B is footing that bill, but that's phenomenal. And, it's just like for a $10 tip for the driver, and it goes directly to the driver, and that's fair. But then that's the one charge, and to get your groceries delivered, that's amazing. And then they aren't charging local businesses, and I don't know for how long, but, while the closure.
Even their normal percentage is only 15%. They are hands down the best delivery place. Let me tell you why they're the best delivery place from the restaurant side. It's real simple. It's only two things. One, the 15%. Two, they come up with a credit card and pay in the moment, and you get the money right then. So you don't have to wait 6 weeks later to get the money. Right. That's another thing we didn't discuss that these companies do. They have you put all the money up front. Right. And then you're behind 30 days. You're always behind 30 days. And see, in the restaurant business, that's not how that works. You're supposed to be in front of it, not behind it. And you can't ever catch up.
You've got
right.
So
you're always in the hole.
Food.
You're in the hole every time. And the money you get from the money they pay you, you just use it to buy the next product for the next month, right? So you're never getting that profit. You never have the profit to play around with. Who has the profit to play around with? Uber does. They use that money, right? Part of their valuation, part of their banking. They're investing it. They're making interest off of it. your hard work. They screw you. But that's why I love Favor. They come up with a credit card. You don't have a tablet. They order like any other customer. In fact, you don't even need to worry about it. Was that a Favor order or not? It doesn't matter. Right. You don't care. Fantastic. It's awesome. Yeah. Favor is
the one thing is that Favor
amazing.
Drivers also don't tip the businesses. I mean, if so
they don't. You're right.
Yeah. So I mean, there's just, but yeah, I mean, if you're going to do something and take this model that's been successful for these big guys, but you want to make it local and not totally screw the businesses, then
I just don't think that's up to the driver, though.
That, right?
Yeah.
They're local guys, so we do appreciate that. We're not, yeah, and I mean, and they did the right thing during this whole thing by not charging local restaurants and stuff, and that's and I mean, I think one of them didn't even also waive their delivery fees. I should know which one, but I'm not sure. But for
Uber Eats does it. I can't even believe I used Uber Eats on the podcast so many times. Like we used it on the podcast in the beginning, right? When you came on, we ordered food from Uber Eats. And I don't know if you remember me telling you, but I was telling you it's the only company I could use to get some of this food here because I can't get the food I want from Texas real food, right? Like the real organic, all natural stuff that I want to get. They're not even on a lot of these places, so I'm limited to what I want to get. So even me, I signed a deal with the devil. Now we stopped using them, but yes, it's crazy.
But that's what I mean. Is like you feel it's you just shouldn't, if you're using a service that's mutually beneficial for all parties, then you shouldn't feel like you're signing a deal with the devil.
100%.
You shouldn't feel strapped over the barrel. You shouldn't be like, it shouldn't make you feel sick to your stomach, which is how you described it to me. It made me feel sick to my stomach.
It still does right now, thinking that I did it. Like I hate it, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's and that's the thing. The more I was researching, the more I was finding out, I was like, oh, and this too. And I'm like, oh, I'm so angry right now. Oh, it's really just, again, it's like you want to be protective of the little guys. I mean, we love food. We live local. We're just so passionate about it. And we just want to, we want to see the best happen. I mean, we know how hard it is to make it in the restaurant industry. I mean, the profit margins are not big. I mean, unless you're selling 50% booze, which is where your real profit margins are. Yeah. You're really doing it because you love it. You can make some money, but you're not going to be like yachting with Richard Branson anytime soon.
Yeah. No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah. Food is thin margin, booze is high margin, It's just how it goes. You don't get into food to, I want to make a bunch of money. You get into food because you have a passion for it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's just that's what I always, I got into a little not tussle, but a little disagreement before. We were talking about support local, right? Like what is local, right? Like this McDonald's franchise, blah 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 blah. Well, this is my whole response to that whole thing, right? Just to wrap it. My thing is, look, I appreciate. You're a local business person living in my community. Yes, that is true. But let me tell you the difference between you and Joe, whatever, that opened his pizza food truck here. Okay.
Sure.
One is that guy opened that pizza food because he loves food. I'm going to be real honest. You did not buy that McDonald's because you love food.
Right. No.
You bought that McDonald's because you want to make money.
Yeah.
And you want to buy another McDonald's and a Wendy's and a Taco Bell and put them all together. And that's how you make money off those franchises. I get, but it's money.
Those are businesses.
You don't care about food. You don't have a passion for food. You're not buying a McDonald's because you want people to eat healthy and you have a passion for food. I mean, it makes no sense. So my thing is just like, look, I'm sorry, but where your heart came from, your heart is money. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to put my money where not to yours right now because it needs to go to this guy who has passion and he got into this to bring me good food. Right. So I'm going to support 100%. Him. I'm sorry. So it's just a difference to me than, yes, I get it. This local McDonald's and there's 6 people that work there and need a job. Okay. I get it. But people are going to support that anyway, right? There's going to be people that go to McDonald's no matter what you tell 100%. Them. I mean, you could tell them we use, we just, human body parts in there. People are still going to be lining up to get a Big Mac. I mean, people even know it's not real meat and they still show up to buy it. So
I know when they had that
they'll
pink
always go
slime
there.
video, I thought that would be the end of it for them.
Yes. Oh no, it doesn't
But
matter.
now I say they don't use the pink slime anymore, but it's like, but you did for a really long time. And
they use all kinds of other stuff. I promise you, they use all kinds of other things, and not just them. Right? It's not just McDonald's.
We're not just expose.
It's all the chains.
Yeah.
It's every Outback, Red Lobster, Olive Garden, Texas Roadhouse. It's all those
it's
places.
Convenience. It's affordable. Although now those places aren't even as affordable anymore. But they're I know a lot of young parents who like McDonald's because they're like it's
got a playground.
They're very, very clean. They have a playground. The bathrooms are always very clean. It was one place that we always like to stop on road trips is McDonald's because the bathrooms are clean.
We went too as a kid, right? Like I went to McDonald's too as a kid. I get it.
Yeah. We're not dogging them just per se, but we're just saying this is not supporting local. That was like what the whole conversation was about. Is what this group was about, right? Is like there's a Facebook group that we're both in that is about, supporting local during this pandemic, like where are you getting your food to go, like to encourage people to share their meals, what places are open, show us the beautiful food so that people are inspired to go and support local, right? But then, there's like kind of some people started this brawl, right? Like they're like, people work at the McDonald's and they're locally owned and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, yeah, but it's like McDonald's. It's the same thing. Like the businesses that are going to be around after this crisis are the businesses that you support. Yep. And McDonald's isn't going anywhere, no. Whether or not they close down every single McDonald's in the country for 2 months or not. Like they're just not going anywhere.
Yes.
Or around the world, in fact, because they are global. This is
100%.
Global billionaire. Yeah. But that little barbecue truck or that little, taco truck, they need you right now. And so that's kind of, we're like, go for them.
All it is like a temporary sort of thing, right? It's just saying like during this moment right now, please support these places because they need you the most. Basically, exactly. I'm not saying don't ever go to McDonald's or Wendy's. Now, would I like that? Yes, I would prefer that never happened. Now, I say that, but at the same time, have I gone to eat at McDonald's and when? Yes, I have. Okay, so if one day down the road you see me in the drive-through at some fucking fast food place, I won't have my head down in shame. Look, I'm like everybody else. I exactly every 3 months or so is usually my thing. Like every 3 months I go and I get some fast food randomly. It just works into my life somehow. And I'll be honest, I regret it every time, which is why it takes 3 months because 3 months pass and I'm like, I that should be okay, right? I forget how bad it made me feel before, but
except Whataburger.
Whataburger's, Whataburger's.
Cabana's decent.
Love Whataburger. Yes.
Make their own tortillas.
Yeah, taco. Exactly. Yes. Look, Terry's, Torchy's.
Yeah. Right.
There's good chains.
There are, but we're just kind of saying like the overall, the global world domination. But I laugh sometimes at myself, and you feel like a hypocrite sometimes because it's like with the Austinot that I've written for almost 4 years now, or 3.5 years. It's like I'm sitting here writing about like my favorite, South Austin local coffee shops, and I'm writing this article and I'm talking to everyone, I'm going to everyone, I'm just so happy. And this is where I go most of the time. But if I'm getting on a road trip, I need a drive-through. I've got my dog in the car. It's 100 degrees outside. I'm getting that Starbucks thing, and I'm sorry, but it's just convenience. There is a purpose to convenience, like these apps, like these third-party delivery services. Like they serve a purpose, which is that it's convenience, but we're just saying like it is good for the consumer to know their business practices so that we can make the best choices.
That's a good point.
Our own beliefs, This is what happened. Like we didn't know. Totally. And so this guy in Chicago like blew this out of the water, and people are like, "What the hell?" Because people were outraged because we thought we were paying for it because we were paying them, but we thought that we were paying for the service because we're the ones that wanted the convenience.
Totally, that's a good way to look at it. Yeah, that's a good way to look at it. And that's really how it should be, right? Moving forward, are you listening? Yeah, exactly. That's the type of service that to me will be the most successful moving forward that restaurants are going to be seeking out to be a part of. That's what we need in this, industry, is a business to come in that restaurants like, nope, I want to use them. Right. Not the other way around, not the dreaded, oh, I have to use them. Right. So but that's the system, is putting it on the consumer. If you want the delivery, we'll do it for you, but this is what you pay for, right? Like if you want it, but the restaurant shouldn't have to eat this enormous cost to then, trust me, as a consumer, you suffer. In one way or another, you'll suffer from it. So you don't want it either. Right. You want the business, the food place that's making your food that you're going to eat. You want them to be operating the least amount of stress, right? The best way possible, blah, blah, blah. Because what? Your food will be the best. The price will be the best. Everything will be the best for you if that's the case. So look, I want to ask you, Joleen, have you heard about the Runner City thing?
I have. I think it's a great idea. It's a great model. And especially right now, when, again, more people are ordering delivery than ever before. And not only food. I mean, Runner City, they'll bring you almost anything now. It's not a business.
Yeah. And, that's what's kind of cool about it, though, right?
Very much so. But that's maybe like,
it's
I
almost
mentioned it, and I'm like, maybe we can't because we don't want to get anybody in trouble, right? And now it's like got spread to other cities, but it's like, hey, who's in my neighborhood and can go get me? I see people like, I need beer and cigarettes.
Just explain for our listeners what Runner City is real quick.
Yeah, so it's just that it's a Facebook group, and people say, hey, I'm in Hyde Park, and I need. I call the restaurant, I ordered my food, for a $10 tip, can someone go pick up that food and bring it to me a mile from the restaurant or 2 miles from the They say, like, here's my request, this is what I need, I've already paid for it, I'm going to pay you via Venmo or PayPal. And, some people are like, $30, go pick up, this meal for 10. Or some people are like, yeah, I need some booze, go pick vodka and smokes, and they're like, I'll pay $25 or $20 for that. So, for whatever reason. And it definitely, if you're at home drinking, you don't go to the store. Yeah. Do it, okay? Please don't take your time. But and it's awesome because the money goes to the driver. And a lot of people have lost their jobs. So a lot of people are looking for gigs like this. They pick it up really easily. And you pick it up on Facebook. There's not like an app you have to download. It's super easy for everyone as long as they have Facebook, right? Yeah. Because Facebook is the app. But it's, it seems to be growing. And so it's good. The business doesn't pay any extra. You're not paying any extra. I mean, you're paying one agreed upon fee for delivery, a tip for the driver, and you pay them, and it's all contactless, which is important right now. Yeah. So, that's kind of by design, it's contactless. So they'll go pick it up, they'll leave it on front porch, ring the doorbell, and you Venmo them the tip.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. I think that's a great system that moving forward could really work, in the industry, to be honest with you, because again, anything less you can put on the restaurant, but still get the delivery, right? Like the way Favor works, it's such a great system. There's no burden on the restaurant. In fact, they don't even know what the hell's going on. It's all between the consumer and the delivery person. And that's really where it should be. And I really love the Runner City idea of, hey,
I do too. It's just, love it. Is that whole, this is why we can't have nice things. I'm just waiting for something bad to happen with Runner City. I mean, I don't want to put that I'm knocking on wood, no bad.
No, but you're being realistic. I mean, that's being realistic. Yeah.
But, then that stuff happens with Uber and Lyft too. So it's not, what I mean? I don't think that they're any less safe than any of them. I mean, what background checks do your favorite drivers go through? I mean, they're just delivering food, right? They're not coming in your house. Yeah. In theory, or Uber Eats or Grubhub or any of that. So I guess it's the same thing, but it's just like, it's so out there, like, okay, but so are all of these apps. And because they're an organized system, because they work for a company, you assume, these safety measures that they're probably not taking anyway. And that has not been researched. That's an assumption that just based on what we've seen from Uber and Lyft. And
for sure. I mean, no, that's it though, but you're right. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. So, I think Runner City is a great idea. It's a great model. I wish, I do think somehow, some way they've got to make it, once you get past this really insane time, there's got to be some way to make it yeah, like a little more organized. But then
there's no better time than now. I mean,
right.
it's literally come, I mean, it's crazy. It's like nothing could have ever prepared a restaurant for delivery like this, right? Because most of the time you're running normal operations plus delivery. So delivery is always a side thing. It's always a little, and now it's everything. So honestly, moving forward, delivery will be the best it's ever been for people moving forward.
We sure hope so.
Hopefully, right? I mean, that's it. So now is the best time to figure it out, because whatever gets set in place is going to stay. It's really hard to break those patterns. And once you've set people up on these apps and deliver, it's really hard to break that pattern. But what I really want to stress to the listeners and the viewers is, I know you love Netflix, all right, and Amazon Prime, and I do too, but we don't need a Netflix of food, okay? That's not good, because what's going to happen is the ghost, you never heard of this, but you will in the next few years, the ghost kitchen is going to explode. And now there are pluses and minuses to it, but you're not getting a full company. You're getting a shell of a food business, right? They have a menu. That's it. They don't have there's no like, oh, Joe and Lydia started this business 7 years ago for a love of tamales and blah, blah. No.
Yeah, but not Joe and Lydia.
Right? All we have is in the ghost kitchen, it's just literally one kitchen that services 10 businesses. So you've got Joe's Pizza, Joe's Tacos, Joe's Noodles, Joe's what, right? So you're not getting into that personalization. I'm telling you guys, as consumers, if you keep leaning into these apps as much without any pushback or a way for us to change this, you're going to get the most generic delivery you could imagine. There's not going to be any more personalized small business. Again, I'm all for the ghost kitchen, okay? But I'm not for it being everything. And it will take over. And when you're on those apps, Uber Eats, for instance, everything will be a ghost kitchen. You won't even actually see a real restaurant on there at some point. It'll get to that point, and that's what I'm afraid of. I'm really, really afraid of that. I'm afraid of the ghost kitchen concept taking over and us having the Netflix of food options, right? Where we got to just be able to sift through a gazillion places and figure it out. Again, we don't need the Netflix of that. We need the Google of that, meaning I'll bring the search to you, but when I click on it, it takes me to the food business, right? Not your app and your stuff and your thing, right? Like it directly takes me there.
Well, and I mean, I got tricked by, again, like when I ordered to pick up from my restaurant, and I mean, so let's talk about like what can people do if they're like disgusted by this, like we are, I mean, so, look for better business models like Favor.
Yeah.
If you're Austin local.
Favor, Runner City,
Runner City. Yeah. And also like, if you can send someone to pick it up, it's always better to pick up directly yourself, order directly. And it's unfortunate that even if you think you're ordering directly, sometimes you're ordering through Grubhub. So you have to one way that they said, one tip that an article gave was to go, don't get the number from Yelp. Get 100%. The number.
Forget Yelp.
Google Maps, or the business's website or social media. I mean, that's the only way to ensure that it's actually the business.
Their number. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, don't use Yelp for anything. I mean, don't even, I don't even like mentioning the word. It's like they are the worst thing to happen to food businesses, even worse than the delivery apps.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think, I don't want to dog them too hard. Like, I don't know that much about Yelp, but I mean, what I've heard.
Just from my side, just from the business side of all the things I saw them do to us personally.
Yeah.
And like they do it with like no regard for this is wrong, right? Just like, we did that. And we are strong arming you, and we will put your bad reviews at the very top unless you pay us money. I mean, they literally blackmail you, and they're not coy about it. They don't beat around the bush. They get right to the point.
Right. And it's not as organic as it was intended. It's not like the community building each other up, and helping each other out.
Yeah.
It
Totally.
you know, that's like the ideal of Yelp, the idea
Sure.
of Yelp.
That would be nice.
Once it got going, they're like, okay, we've got to monetize it, and then monetize it. It's again like strong arming the businesses.
Yes.
And did you hear about the guy? I want to say, let's just say they're all pizza places. Another pizza place, but anyway, it wasn't. But it was some restaurant, and you know,
the 1-star reviews. Was it that guy?
Yeah, the 1-star review guy. So he was like offering like a 20% discount or 25% discount for anybody writing a 1-star review. So he had like 300 reviews rolling in and 600 reviews rolling in. And so it kept his business up at the top, but also then no one's taking the 1 stars seriously. He totally gave it up.
Yes.
But because they kept getting so many reviews, like they kept going to the top. This is the first place people would find. And then the 1-star reviews were really like, you know, oh, this place is amazing. I love it so much. 1 star. You know what I mean? And it was like so cool. But you know, that's what I mean. Like you mentioned that other guy that did that for the other app, and it's like
all these pizza owners, right? They're just like creative dudes, man.
Y'all are clever.
That's funny. Yeah, I heard about that guy, and I thought that was the greatest thing ever to ask people to do the 1-star Yelp review. Yeah, I thought that was genius.
Yeah.
Props to that guy. That was smart move. Really funny, and a way around the algorithm, right? Of getting them to strong arm you. Again, imagine if our food business was strong arming you, right? Imagine if you came to get a steak from me. I'm like, oh, you like the steak? Oh, you like it? And I'm like, behind my back, I'm like, well, what are we going to do to get you this steak, right? You can pay this, you can pay that, and I'll let you eat it over here, but not over here, right? That's basically what these businesses do. So imagine we're customers for them. Right. And that's how they treat us. Right. So imagine if you as a customer got treated that way, you would never use that business again. But again, they make it in such a way that you sort of have nowhere else to go. You're in a cul-de-sac, right? You're at the end of an alley. I have nowhere else to go. I have to go this route. Right, I have to turn around and go this route, and that's the thing. So the other options need to come up. Whatever it is, I don't know. It's not out there yet, but the favor model, maybe the Runner City is the way to go. I think the best thing you can do as a consumer at this point is, call the business and see if you can deal with them directly. And if you still really want to eat with them, and the only way is through Uber Eats or Grubhub, look, I get it. Use it, okay? It's not a big deal. Like, I mean. But the key, I think, is that you tried something else right first. So as long as maybe it's not your first go-to, and maybe it is sometimes. You don't even have time to look up other stuff. You just need it ordered, and the kids are screaming in the back seat. You need to get. I get it.
It's like, in moderation.
I get it.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like we're not judging anyone for using any.
100%.
Like we just want to get the information out there that we discovered that shocked us and upset us. That you as a business owner and me as a consumer, and someone who cares about, promotes local businesses. It's like, it's upsetting. And I just want people to know that is the deal.
Yes,
exactly. That the restaurants are not getting all the money. You're not helping them keep their doors open at this time necessarily. I mean, yes, some sales are better than no sales, and, 67% of a sale. Okay, that's great. But with food costs being what they are, and food costs are going up right now too, for those restaurants, their supply chain is broken just like everybody else's. And so it's even costing them more to make that food. Yeah. And so then when they're taking food out of it, it's like a stab to the gut. It's not cool, man.
It's really not. It's a tough situation for everybody. And like you said, just do the best you can, right? It's do the best you can. Just have it at the forefront of your mind, and maybe just understanding the transparency of it, will help.
Try to pick up if you can.
Decision. Yeah, totally.
Look for something like Runner City. Look for something like, Favor.
Yeah.
Kind of an order of preference. And if you are using one of the big guys, maybe DoorDash through the end of May, because they've reduced their commission to the restaurants to 10%. Yeah. So look for the companies that are trying to do better.
Totally. And that's it. We all got to do our part,
we do.
For sure. So yeah, that's all super good advice, Joleen. Well, look, do you have anything else that you want to throw on the end? I want to end on that note myself personally, just a good, positive, note. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think that's right. I think that's good. And I think we can wrap it up.
I like that. Like, hey, you rolled that in there.
Yep.
Okay. So, all right. Well, thank you, Joleen, for coming on. Really appreciate you, giving us the insight. And thank you so much for everything you do for the community and supporting food. And, I mean, it's awesome, so grateful that you do what you do. So, and thank you for writing this article. It was a really good article. Sure. You're writing all kinds of, you're slaying it right now. You really are. You're writing some really amazing articles. So guys, please check out Joleen. Tell people how to, check you out real quick.
Right on. Well, I write for the Austinot. So I just did the restaurant survival guide, like with tips from like the best that I've seen other businesses doing to stay afloat, like restaurants and bakeries and food businesses. And so look that up. The restaurant food service industry survival guide, pandemic survival guide on the Austinot. But yeah, so you didn't just look me up, JoLeenJernigan, Joleen Jernigan. And I'll also write for the American Genius, which is where this article was featured. And so the American Genius and the Austinot, those are the big two that I write for mostly.
Yeah. Awesome, Joleen. You're amazing. And thank you so much for everything you do and all the support you give to everybody. And, just keep doing what you're doing. I know a lot of people are reading it, right. And using you as a vessel in a lot of ways, to, get information. And I know I can always trust anything you write. That's what I love about your writing is that I know you've researched it. I know you've looked into it. I know you've double checked, right? And I love that. Like that makes me that's powerful. Yeah. To be honest with you, it's powerful, especially in this day and age. So again, just thank you for everything you do, and thank you for joining me today and talking about this with the delivery stuff.
And thank you. I think you're killing it with your podcast, man.
Thank you. Yeah, we're trying. Spread the message.
I will.
All right, girl. We'll talk to you soon. Have a good rest of the day. Have a good weekend.
Bye. Happy weekend.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. I really hope you enjoyed that podcast as much as I did. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to email the podcast at patrick@texasrealfood.com. And don't forget, you can check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, all the different places you can get podcasts, you'll find us on there. Or you can just go to our website, go to thelonestarplate.com, and you can find everything you need there, all the episodes. And you can check us out on YouTube if you want to watch it. We video these, on a little webcam here and do the Zoom stuff. And, so if you feel like doing it that way, go to the Texas Real Food YouTube channel and you can find it there. Make sure to follow Texas Real Food as well on Instagram and Facebook. Subscribe. And if you are so inclined, please leave us a review anywhere you can. Follow us on Spotify or leave a review on Apple Podcast. That would really help us out as well. So if you support, what we're trying to do here. So thanks again for listening. Really do appreciate it. Without you guys, what's the point of doing this? So if you have any suggestions on how we can make the show better, please let us know. All right. Thanks again. Be safe out there. Wash your hands.